The Kuwait national football team is the national team of Kuwait and is controlled by the Kuwait Football Association. Kuwait made one World Cup finals appearance, in 1982, managing a draw with Czechoslovakia but losing to England and France. During the match against France, a goal was scored by the French because some of the Kuwaiti players stopped playing, having heard a whistle. The goal was initially awarded by the referee, who had not blown, but Kuwait walked off the pitch in protest. They eventually resumed playing only after the intervention of Sheikh Fahad Al Ahmed and the referee's subsequent decision to disallow the French goal. They had better success contending for the Asian Cup, reaching the final in 1976 and taking home the winner's trophy in 1980. Kuwait's 20-0 win over Bhutan in 2000 was at the time the biggest ever victory in international football. It was surpassed in 2001, when Australia beat Tonga 22-0. History: Kuwait national football team has joined the World Cup in 1982, which was held in Spain. Kuwait has joined the fourth group and which came in the fourth place. Kuwait has won the AFC Cup in 1980, which was held in Kuwait. Kuwait won the final 3-0 on South Korea. Kuwait historical FIFA ranking, which was 24th. Bashar Abdullah is the most capped player in Kuwait and the top goal scorer in the history of the Kuwait national football team. Kuwait has won the Gulf Cup of Nations 10 times and is the most team to win the competition. Kuwait's most historical manager is Luis Felipe Scolari, who won the World Cup with Brazil national team, was forced to leave the country after the 1990 invasion in Iraq. He led Kuwait to win the 1990 Gulf Cup, beating Qatar in the final. Kuwait's first international match was a friendly match against Libyan national football team which ended in a 2-2 draw in 1960. Kuwait's biggest loss was against Egypt national football team when they were destroyed 8-0 by the Pharaohs in 1961. Kuwait's biggest win was against Bhutan national football team which ended in a thrilling 20-0 win, which was the biggest win until Australian national football team won 31-0 against the American Samoan national football team in 2001. Kuwait's most successful years were between 1970 to 1990, which had players like Jassim Yakou, Faisal Darkal, Saad Al-Houthi etc. Temporary suspension: on October 30, 2007, Kuwait was suspended by FIFA from all participation in international football, on the grounds of governmental interference in the National Football Association. The ban lasted less than 2 weeks. On October 24, 2008, Kuwait was again suspended by FIFA from all participation in international football, because of its failure to hold the General Assembly elections by mid-October. FIFA provisionally lifted its suspension on the Kuwait Football Association on December 22, 2008. Team image: home stadium. The Kuwait national team has 2 home stadiums and they are Jabal Al Ahmad International Stadium and Al Sadaqah Wal Salam Stadium. Jabal Al Ahmed International Stadium was built in 2009 and Kuwait celebrated winning the Gulf Cup 20 in that stadium. While Al Sadaqah Wal Salam Stadium is for Kuwaiti club Kazma and was the Kuwait national team home. Following the 2014 FIFA World Cup qualification AFC second round playing against the Philippines on July 23, 2011, this was the last time Mohammed Al Hamd Stadium was the Kuwait home stadium. On May 16, 2012, Kuwait played against the 2011 Euro 12 La Liga champions Real Madrid in Al Kuwait Sports Club Stadium, the home ground of Kuwaiti club Kuwait SC, which Real Madrid won 2-0. Kuwait played their entire 2014 FIFA World Cup qualification AFC third round in Al Sadaqah Wal Salam Stadium, beating the United Arab Emirates 2-1, drawing with South Korea 1-1 and losing to Lebanon 1-0. Before Jabal Al Ahmed International Stadium was finally built in 2009, Kuwait played in Mohammed Al Hamd Stadium. When Kuwait hosted the 1980 Asian Cup, the tournament was hosted in Sabah Al Salim Stadium, which is a capacity of 22,000 and was the largest stadium in Kuwait at that time. Kuwait won their first Asian Cup of all time. When Kuwait hosted the 1974 Gulf Cup of Nations, it was the first time Kuwait had hosted a Gulf Cup of Nations competition, and all the matches were played in Al Kuwait Sports Club Stadium. Kuwait were champions of that competition for the time in their history and the third time in a row. In 1990, Kuwait hosted the 1990 Gulf Cup of Nations for the second time in their history and were crowned champions of that competition. All of the games were played on Al Sadaqah Wal Salam Stadium. In the 2003 Gulf Cup of Nations, Kuwait hosted the competition for the third and last time, and once again all the matches were played in one stadium, the Al Sadaqah Wal Salam. However, Kuwait lost the competition. Media coverage: all Kuwait matches are broadcast with full commentary on Kuwait TV3. These matches are live and exclusive. Al Jazeera Sports broadcast Kuwait matches live and exclusive, as so the Abu Dhabi Sport Channel. So broadcast exclusively on 3 different channels, which is not exclusive. Dubai Sports broadcast Kuwait matches only in special events like the Gulf Cup of Nations, Asian Cup Wafa Games and so on. Kit providers: Kuwait traditional colors are blue and white, the blue represents the home kit and white represents the away colors. The Kuwait's official kit provider is currently produced by Deutsche Company Al Sport. Starting from 2014, Kuwait wore the blue t-shirt in the 1980 AFC Asian Cup and the 1982 FIFA World Cup. Rivalries: Kuwait vs Saudi Arabia national football team. Kuwait vs Saudi Arabia is known as the Gulf Derby. Kuwait vs Iraq national football team. Iraqi rivalry with Kuwait is considered the Arab world's greatest football rivalry of all time. The rivalry began in the mid-1970s, and it was the decade from 1976 until 1986 that saw the golden age of football for arguably the finest teams the region has produced. Both nations imposed their complete domination on the Gulf region, and from the Gulf Cup's inception in 1970 until 1990, the tournament was won by only 2 teams. Kuwait 7 times, and despite Iraq's absence in the first 3 editions and withdrawal in 2 others, Iraq won it 3 times. Iraq and Kuwait took their increasingly bitter rivalry to a new level. On June 11, 1976, the two met in the semi-final of the Asian Cup in Tehran. Kuwait took the lead twice, Iraq came roaring back twice, and then, in the 10th minute of extra time, Kamel scored the winner for Kuwait. In 1979, the year Iraq clinched their first Gulf Cup and won over Kuwait 3-1, the two met in a qualifier for the Moscow 1980 Olympic Games, both managed to qualify to the Olympic Games, and both made it to the quarter-finals in Moscow. Iraq also qualified for the 1984 Games in Los Angeles and 1988 Games in Seoul. The 1982 Asian Games was won as well. Kuwait won the 1980 AFC Asian Cup, which they hosted. The nations also left their mark on the world stage. Kuwait qualified for the 1982 World Cup finals in Spain. Iraq matched that in Mexico 1986. As Iraq and Kuwait traded Gulf titles in 1988 and 1990, few could have imagined that their rivalry on the football field would be replaced by an altogether more catastrophic one on the battlefield. Because of the Gulf War, football would never be the same again. Iraq and Kuwait were in complete avoidance and never met for more than a decade. Kuwait's Blues had a relative recovery of sorts, winning the Gulf Cup in 1996 and 1998, before securing their record 10th title in 2010. Iraqi football, because of the torturer-in-chief Saddam Hussein's reign of terror as head of the Football Association, would take far longer to recover. When it did, it was in glorious fashion, the Lions of Mesopotamia winning the 2007 Asian Cup. World Cup record, Asian Cup record.